Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a spotlight overview video of Peni Parker and her robotic spider, just absolute amazing champion. If you've seen the champion deep dive, you'll know that this one is already incredibly impressive, and we're going to be going over this as well, comparing up against the deep dive to get a real idea how powerful this champion is. The main thing that seems to point at the mechanics of this champion is that the suit creates the sync shield, empowering her block by providing protection, which is the blue out of the way the champion looks with that. Sorry, that kind of like shielding, the blue thing. Now, how the champion works is she'll build these protections, which, if you're familiar with protection, it's normally in that purplish type of icon, which pops up left hand corner. And then you can have other things with it. So it empowers her block by providing protection, power control, and safety net. With the use of her spider sense charges, Peni can choose to power burn her opponent or melt their health bar with incinerate debuff. So it gives you a choice there on how to play the champion. Whether or not you want to do it from power control, or whether or not you want to do a hell of a lot of damage. Now, before we get into anything when it comes to like play style and stuff like that, the thing to point out is that this champion has some amazing value for those that run Suicide Masteries, with Double Edge being something that, we can just take or leave it. The poison effect, which is the one from Liquid Courage, stays on as a permanent. So having that just go, it's more value, because you're going to be able to have a champion that's going to be able to do loads of damage, not see so much of a critical amount of loss. Yes, you're going to recoil, which is going to be one of the major issues to point out and will be problematic, which is highlighted in Dave's video, but it's not so much of a huge issue that players should feel like discouraged by it at all. But being immune to poison and incinerates does have its value in different types of content and areas. I can also foresee this champion being very, very annoying with having abilities fail. As the champion does minus 100% true strike, true accuracy, and true sense effectability accuracy, it means that you're going to see a lot of like good counters fail against stuff when it comes to like the champion's auto block abilities, which is really annoying and will like lower some elements and options. Especially as we saw the likes of Overseer being a bit of a nuisance because it would incorrectly interact with the stuff. Now we've got something that is going to be a little bit more frustrating. Damn. Now, with the building nature of the Spider Sense charges, which are up to 10 charges, any additional charges last for 22 seconds, charge cannot be prevented by ability accuracy. Those building of those Spider Sense charges are very reminiscent of our good old friend, Mr. Stark Enhanced Spidey, which, if you're familiar with the champion, you build up your charges, so to speak, and then after 10, you're able to put in a lot more damage. And as well, when it comes to the SP2, kind of like pop off a greater amount of damage with, your shock damage. This one is kind of similar in that kind of way, but Peni Parker goes a lot further than our good friend Stark Spidey. And here is where the waffle of spiel comes in of kind of like explaining the champion. I'll go with the developer notes, which is the sync shield allows Peni to take 0 damage from blocking hits until her shield runs out of strength. That's great, again, for kind of like those that want to just chill out in the fight, or at least kind of like build and not feel punished in the fight. The max strength of the shield scales with the opponent's attack rating upon entering a match. For example, this means her shield will counteract any champion's boost or attack quest buffs on her opponent. Handy if there's any specific kind of nodes, I want to say. That can mean that certain bosses are going to be more stacked and powerful than they are. There's also good interaction with withstanding damage, as it says here. When Peni would take damage from blocked or auto-blocked hit, the sync shield takes up to 100% of the damage instead. Again, handy. When the sync shield runs out of strength, it goes on cooldown for 20 seconds, after which it reactivates at max strength. There's also an interaction with the parry mastery with the sync shield when it's active, which is very interesting. When Peni Parker would be struck, plus 8% chance for a Spider Sense charge to consume 4 charges, purifying any stun debuffs, and getting 100% chance to auto block for 2 seconds. This does not trigger parry and cannot be prevented by ability accuracy. So again, very, very handy for how this shield kind of interacts, and is more a saving grace if you make a mistake, which I think is really good, especially when it comes times of like, scuff stuff in game and dropped inputs and things not running well. At least say that's kind of like you get a gel free card from losing all your health. Also, the power control aspects to the champion when hit into the block is something that is just absolutely perfect. And as well, when it comes to having your block broken or at least some elements of stun, which you get pesky Apocalypse, it is just so good and refreshing to see that. I mean, look at that. There's a block break being resisted, which is absolutely amazing. Now, it does very much seem like the name of the game is to save up those Spider Sense charges as much as possible and fire them off with a special attack, just to make sure that you're doing that pumping amount of incinerate damage, as well as the huge amount of damage you can see when we see a special attack 2 being thrown. Which on the deep dive is very much like here. Which on the champion deep dive very much shows that extensive amount of damage. The more Spider Sense charges you have, the more damage you're going to do. And when you get to the 6-star rank 4, man, that's a lot. But, you know, the other varieties show a huge amount as well. More so if you're running Suicide Masteries. The special attacks have their own kind of like unique features to them, which does make me feel like this is going to be... It's like a quintessential champion that is tech. It can power control, it can deal with heal blocks, and as well it can suppress a lot of stuff and have that utility, but also goes a bit further to have that real god tier like damage. More so if you're running Suicide Masteries than you're not, but definitely puts together this champion, presents a champion that is gonna be so interesting for players to grab. Just a bit of a shame it doesn't have anything like regeneration, which if you're doing the recoil and as well you're looking for some sustainability or survivability. But you know, you can't have everything with this. I think it's just very well presented in any case. SP3 inflict a power burn debuff, which you can do with a few other attacks as well, which is great. If the sync shield is on cooldown, it restores 100% strength and a flat 50% of the sync shield current strength max 200%. For a little extra protection, the special 3 allows sync shield. And I think that's the thing. Players will more than likely either go, do I need to power control this champion that I'm facing off against? Or do I just go with this champion as being my key damage dealer? Because a lot of the times, if you've got nodes where, you know, you're power controlling, you know, you name it really, various different champions and very different nodes, all or nothing, whatever, you may need to use this, but I think a lot of people will just use it for the damage potential that you can get with Spider Sense. But yeah, signature ability is quite good. It helps out against power control, healing. And then you got whenever the opponent heals while heal blocked, deal 15% damage, 15% of the health they would have gained as burst incinerate damage. So, and if the Salve Mastery is active, the mastery is removed. So you know, there's some interaction there, some fun stuff with the signature ability, and various other smorgasbord of those lovely synergies. Now on to synergies. There are some pretty cool synergies out there for the champion, but the other champions, it's not hugely there. I think really Field Trip is one of the best ones, giving Daredevil's Hell's Kitchen a really kind of nice chance to increase some damage with some bleeds and as well some extra direct damage. So that's alright. Mysterio Chemical Gas is not consumed when inflicting poison with a heavy attack, can be quite good on rotations. But as well, there are some other stuff. Well, I don't know. You see, like lock on lasts 1 second longer. Yay! Airwalker gain 1 power cosmic buff when winning a fight. Yay! The others, again, yeah. I just think that Field Trip is one of the best ones there. Strange Beast with the bizarre machines, and that Mole Man gains attack rating and armor rating against XL champions. Again, here or there. So it is what it is. But you know, if you want a full deep dive for seeing them in kind of like on the screen, I would say check out the deep dive. Links in the description down below. My final thoughts on what I see with Peni Parker and as well the deep dives as well. This is promising. I would say a lot of the footage that is in the deep dive is that of Suicide Masteries, which is not necessarily a bad thing and not necessarily a good thing. It's a good thing because it showcases that poison immunity, which is great for those that run Suicide Masteries, and as well the further inroads of damage potential you can get. The problem is that you'll be recalling a lot of damage rotating around the SP2, and again, which is not necessarily a bad thing and not necessarily a good thing because you're able to do a lot of damage, and that's the great thing. That's what we want to see, a god tier tech. Of course we do. When it comes to the bad side of things is that if there's certain content that you want to use this champion in and you're constantly recalling all the time, it can again be very frustrating for a lot of players in that kind of regard. I think without the Suicide Masteries, it's still going to be a punchy champion, and that's what I'm going to be testing when I'm able to review the champion as well. But I'm loving the fact that the interaction with suppressing things with auto block, true strike and that stuff, because it can be good. I think it's good for a defensive side of things. Alliance Wars defense, this champion is going to be annoying. The same way with Spider-Man 2099, but that's another thing for another video. Yeah, I just kind of like, it's great to see a really powerful tech champion come into the game. So it looks good so far, but I need to test this out before I kind of go like, yeah, massive thumbs up. But still, this is a good thumbs up from what we've seen in the deep dive and as well on paper here. What are your thoughts on this champion? Put it in the comment section down below. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. Please check out some other content posted earlier today, which should be a very spicy Marvel Contest of Champions news. And there will be a Spider-Man 2099 video coming up very, very shortly. So make sure to check that out. And as well, tomorrow for the update and Wednesday for the new content day. Got lots of grind guides coming up for you.